Hey, how's it going? It's Tuesday, February 16th, and I want to start off with the camera settings. I still haven't figured out the lighting in here, and my bangs are annoying the crap out of me. So what you're seeing right now is a huge compromise for me to just go ahead and get the video done because I've been wanting to do a video for a while. So I hope it's not too annoying. Anyway, there's just a few topics that I want to talk about. The first one, which is the longest, it's been a really long time that I've wanted to make a video about this, but I went and saw the movie Avatar quite some time ago. It was not right when it opened, but pretty close, a week or two, and it's been out a while now. And I really enjoyed the movie, and if you haven't seen it, I do recommend seeing it, and that you should see it in the IMAX 3D if you can. It's not, well, the IMAX 3D that I saw is not like one of the wraparound screens or anything like that. It's just a high definition screen with high definition sound. It was just really, really neat experience, something that I hadn't expected to see technology like that in the movie theater for another, 20 years or something like that. So it's pretty cool. And if you haven't seen the movie, you should do that, but you should also stop the video because I'm going to talk about some stuff that I saw in the movie, and it might be considered a spoiler, if you haven't heard anyone else talking about it. But science fiction's always been a favorite of mine. I've done a lot of reading in science fiction. Science fiction movies have always kind of suffered a little bit. They've never really been. I mean, there's some that have been done well, but for the most part, the books are much better. And it's my favorite genre because you can take an idea or topic or just anything from normal life, pull it out of the general everyday, and put it in a situation which can remove and strip away people's biases, and then you can look at it without having a personal bias. And that's always been interesting to me because if you take something as simple as race and then you read a story about Martians that half of them are green and half of them are yellow and they fight all the time just because they're a different color, you go, that's ridiculous. Wonder why they fight just because they're a different color. It's so much easier to see that, other than, in day to day and with all your personal biases and things like that. And so the second time I saw Avatar, because I've seen it twice, and I do plan on seeing it one more time while it's in the theater, because it's just a neat experience, and it won't be as good, I don't think, on a DVD. In any case, the second time I saw it, at the very end of the movie, I realized that the movie had a huge trans theme in it, like humongous. It was so many parallels, and the character goes through a transition in the movie from human to Na'vi, basically. And at the end of the movie, he's willing to risk his life. I mean, it's not for sure that he could live through it, to become a Na'vi. And the interesting thing about that is, as an audience member, and I think all of the audience in general, totally understood that. I totally understand why you would become a Na'vi. I mean, it makes so much sense to me. His body, wasn't, didn't have the use of his legs, and maybe he was going to get that fixed, or maybe he wasn't going to get that fixed. But there was also all these other advantages and disadvantages, and he seemed to identify more with the Na'vi than he did with the humans by the end of the movie. And so he went through this transition and risked his life. And, it just seems so similar to a lot of the themes that I was thinking about, except it's just not generally accepted. People can't disconnect from it. So I wanted to know if people saw that when they saw the movie, or if now that I've talked about it, maybe they could put some more ideas on it. I've not had a conversation really with anyone about it to explore it further than just, a few thoughts that I've managed to get out onto the camera, because I'm sure I've had more in the past. It's been six weeks or something like that. It's been a long time. So anyway, that's been inside my head. Um, Another thing that's going on with me lately is, I'm scheduled for surgery. I think I'm down to 20 days pre-op. And that's really, it's inspired a lot of thinking and a lot of deep feelings. And it's gone through a whole range of different things. And I think it's definitely been a great process for me. I've made some realizations in the past month and a half since I've scheduled surgery, 2 months almost, whatever, about myself that I don't think I would have gotten had I wasn't looking forward to surgery. A lot of my transition, I wasn't necessarily sure that I was going to have surgery. And then even once I decided, I still hadn't gone through that emotionally. So once I had a date and the date started coming, it really inspired me to think about a lot of things. Like, I went through a stage where when I would think about the changes that would be coming after surgery in my body, it elicited almost like a physical response. A feeling of like I was on the top of a roller coaster getting ready to go down the first hill. And that first little, it was so much like that because it wasn't like I was falling off a cliff. It was like I was on a roller coaster. And I had stood in line for a really long time to be right here, right now. And I knew it was coming, but I was feeling this feeling. And I knew even as soon as it was over that if I could, I'd get right back in line and go again like I would on a big roller coaster. But there was this physical sensation every time I'd think about that. And it wasn't fear. It just was excitement and, I don't know, just a lot of different emotions. And I've kind of gotten past that. But in the end, what it ended up being was that, I've had this, I've probably said it before, but before I transitioned, I was trans and people perceived me as male. And then when I started to transition, then people saw me as trans and I was trans. And hope, maybe one day in the future, people will see me as female, but I'll be trans. And it's not like transition's going to change the fact that I'm trans. It's just going to change some other things about my life. And so surgery is kind of the same thing. I'm